Okay, I might have done this already, but I think it's time for a what they call, had it on the tip of my brain, a recourse again, because unfortunately, so many people are so stupid that they still follow they still don't understand what they're a part of. They still don't comprehend how the bastards play the game. It's so difficult for y'all. And this is why it's so easy for them to manipulate us. Because we fall for picking sides. And we all have to have enemies. We all have to act like they got to be part of a fucking team. But you still don't understand that they own all the teams. So no matter what side you go on, Tony Montana said it the best way I could fucking explain it in Scarface. Whose side I'm on? Me. That's who. Once you fall for picking a side, they gotcha. They gotcha with the good versus the bad bullshit. Christian versus Jew, Jew versus Muslim, communist versus socialist. They gotcha. Black versus white. So a lot of you really don't. You still don't comprehend it. You still don't get it. So I'm going to once again read from Behold the Pale Horse, which is the first book. It was the first time, my first appearance on YouTube back in 2008 was reading from this book. And I'm going to read it again. And I want you to pay close attention. Pay attention. I'm going to try to read so that that you can understand exactly what I'm saying. I'll read it as where's my fucking glasses now? Now I can't find my goddamn glasses. I don't think I'm going to need them. Yes, it's big enough for me to read. So I will begin. I'm going to try to read the whole thing. I think I know where to end it anyway. Oh, and before I begin, let's go through some basic things, okay? I'm not talking supernatural shit. I'm not talking about aliens and interdimensional beings. Okay? These are men and women who believe they are God or can become God. Read Genesis again. When the serpent promises Adam and Eve they will become like gods. This is where they got this idea from. There wasn't a real serpent. There wasn't a real fucking snake talking to Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve are symbolic, and so is the goddamn snake. The Brotherhood of the Snake is a legendary, shadowy, secret society alleged to have existed over 6,000 years, aiming to control humanity and dismantle traditional religions. Rooted in so-called conspiracy theories and Sumerian mythology. It is often described as a cult started by the entity Ea or Enki to enlighten humans, which later evolved into a manipulative, elite-controlled worldwide network. Even the initiates of the other secret societies don't know. Even they don't know. Key aspects of the legend include origins. The myth centers on the idea that an elite group known as the Brotherhood of the Snake was established by Ea or Ea to guide humanity. They believed that God gave them authority over the rest of us, yet was later associated with a serpent cult and snake worshippers across various ancient cultures. The snake represents knowledge. Just like the sun. The swastika is a sun symbol. The Star of David, the Israeli flag, is also a sun symbol. If they act like Nazis, if they behave and sound like Nazis, it's because they are Nazis. National Socialists. Different names. You have to get this one thing, okay? You have to understand one thing. They cloak themselves, and when I say they, I know a lot of you idiots are thinking that's the same group of people. No. Their descendants, through the generations, continue the work. In one society, they become a group, do what they do with the group, discard it, and then they go on. They like locusts, like parasites, from body to body to body to body to body, infecting the host. Think of it like The Thing. John Carpenter's movie, The Thing. Purpose and control. Modern conspiracy theories often link the group to a global cabal aimed at controlling politics and finances, often referencing a 5,000 year silent control. Theology/beliefs. The group is often portrayed as opposing the false religions of other alien gods, but that's not what I'm talking here. Yeah, they want you to think they're alien, interdimensional, but it's men and women, evil human beings. Don't believe their bullshit. While promoting a doctrine where human beings were created as workers or slaves, a theme famously explored in the lyrics of the metal band Testament. Symbolism. The snake or serpent is used to represent secret knowledge, the eye of the gods, and the tree of life. Ever heard that? And to be fair, even though I don't understand why the AI has to tell us this. You see, AI is programmed by human beings. Otherwise, there would be no reason for the AI to add this on. But I'm going to read it to be fair, so that nobody says that I left it out. Reality check. While there are historical records of ancient serpent cults and, as explained in Korah, actual secret societies used snake imagery, there is no verified evidence of a single continuous global organization. And where was all this brought up from? A Ukrainian bitch by the name Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. She helped perpetuate these ideas. The group actually exists. They talked about it. She referenced it. Let me see. In Helena Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine, the Serpent Kings, Nagas, are symbolic of ancient adepts, sages, or initiates who brought divine wisdom to early humanity. They represent the serpents of wisdom, the third, fourth, and fifth races. She coined the term Aryan. And you better believe that they still consider themselves Aryans. Who allegedly lived in subterranean dwellings, often under pyramid structures, acting as teachers. Symbolism of wisdom. Key aspects of Blavatsky's Serpent Kings. Symbolism of wisdom. Contrary to later interpretations, Blavatsky regarded the serpent and dragon as ancient symbol of wisdom, initiates, and sages rather than evil. So when you hear about the dragon in Revelation, in the Bible, it's the same thing as the snake, but it isn't a real snake. These are logos. These are symbolic to a group of evil motherfuckers that are going to kill you. They've done it throughout history. The one constant theme, the one thing that all these so-called leaders of these various different countries agree upon is killing us, killing you. Depopulation. Oh boy. Symbolism of wisdom. Contrary to later interpretations, Blavatsky regarded the serpent and dragon as ancient symbol of wisdom, initiates, and sages rather than evil. Of course. They never think of themselves as being evil. They're doing us a good. Killing us is good. Divine instructors. The serpents are identified as the initiates or dragons of wisdom who taught primeval men the mysteries of the cosmos. Naga race. This refers to the serpent race in Hindu and Buddhist traditions, often associated with kingship and protection, such as the seven-headed serpent Anatta or Sisha. Gnostic connection. Blavatsky often referenced the Ophite Gnostics, who were known as the Brotherhood of the Serpents. Esoteric knowledge. The great serpent in her teachings signifies esoteric knowledge and the guardian of sacred sanctuaries. Blavatsky argues in her work, available in collections such as Eden's Serpents and Dragons, that the serpent is a sacred ancient symbol of knowledge. What did I tell you? An ancient symbol of knowledge, regeneration, and interpretation. Let me read that again. The serpent is a sacred ancient symbol of knowledge, regeneration, and the divine spirit that was misunderstood by modern conventional interpretation. How am I? Well, let's see how all of us are by the end of tonight, Rad Lad. I begin. Behold a pale horse. If you look for a copy, do not, I repeat, do not buy a modern printed new version. They have taken out and changed a lot of things. Find yourself a used copy that was printed in the 90s. Do not buy this book the way it's printed today. They have removed and changed a lot of things. The publishers have. Get yourself an old copy, preferably from the 90s. History is replete with whispers of secret societies, accounts of elders or priests who guarded the forbidden knowledge of ancient peoples. Prominent men meeting in secret who directed the course of civilization are recorded in the writings of all people. The oldest is the Brotherhood of the Snake, just in case you thought this was just a cartoon. Right in your face. The oldest is the Brotherhood of the Snake, also called the Brotherhood of the Dragon. And it still exists under many different names. You better believe it. The Brotherhood of the Snake is devoted to guarding the secrets of the ages and to the recognition, and listen up, listen up. You might not believe this, but they believe it. And as long as they have the power, it matters what they believe, regardless of what you think. The Brotherhood of the Snake is devoted to guarding the secrets of the ages and to the recognition of Lucifer as the one and only true God. I'm going to read it again. The Brotherhood of the Snake is devoted to guarding the secrets of the ages and to the recognition of Lucifer as the one and only true God. But they don't believe in a devil. Don't get it twisted. For them, this is an idea. This is a philosophy. The collective mind of men is God. What they call knowledge of self. If you do not believe in God, Lucifer, or Satan, you must understand that there are great masses of people who do. I do not believe in racism, but millions do. And their beliefs and actions based upon those beliefs will affect me. It is clear that religion has always played a significant role in the course of these organizations. Communication with a higher source, often divine, is a familiar claim in all but a few. The secrets of these groups are thought to be so profound that only a chosen, well-educated few are able to understand and use them. Chosen people, anyone? These men use their special knowledge for the benefit of all mankind, or so they say. At least that is what they claim. How are we to know, since their knowledge and actions have been secret? Fortunately, some of it has become public knowledge. I found it intriguing that in most, if not all, primitive tribal societies, all of the adults are members. They are usually separated into male and female groups. The male usually dominates the culture. Surprisingly, this exactly resembles many civilized secret societies. This can only mean that the society is working not against established authority, but for it. In fact, could be said to actually be the established authority. This would tend to remove the validity of any argument that all secret associations are dedicated to the destruction of property constituted authority. This can only apply, of course, where the secret society makes up the majority or entirety of any people which it affects. Only a very few fall into this category. Secret societies, in fact, mirror many facets of ordinary life. There is always an exclusivity of membership, with the resultant importance attached to being or becoming a member. This is found in all human endeavors, even those which are not secret, such as football teams or country clubs. This exclusivity of membership is actually one of the secret society's most powerful weapons. There is the use of signs, passwords, and other tools. They have always performed valuable functions in man's organizations everywhere. The stated reason, almost always different from the real reason for the society's existence, is important. It can be anything, but is usually fraternal and is found in all pressure groups wherever people congregate. David Icke, just to answer your question, Cody, David Icke is what we call a willing dupe. Everything he says is veiled, but he wants you to believe that there's serpent aliens or people that shapeshift and all that bullshit. He doesn't have the cojones to tell you it's just evil people with they're not reptilian, but the way they think is reptilian. Cold-blooded killers. The comradeship is especially important. Sharing hardships or secrets has always been a special thrill to man. No one who has ever undergone the rigors of boot camp is ever likely to forget the special feeling of belonging and comradeship that was shared between the victims of the drill sergeant or company commander. It is an emotion born of initiation. The most potent tool of any secret society is the ritual and myth surrounding initiation. These special binding ceremonies have very deep meaning for the participants. And for all I know, Cody, David Icke teaches that the way he does it to protect himself from any attacks. But make no mistake, this is not supernatural, okay? Forget about the Nephilim bullshit. Forget about the reptilian and alien interdimensional beings bullshit. If anything like that happens, you better bet your ass that it's human beings doing it behind the scenes. Don't fall for it. Initiation performs several functions which make up the heart and soul of any true secret society. Like boot camp, the initiation into the armed forces, important aspects of human thought that are universally compelling, are merged to train and maintain the efforts of a group of people to operate in a certain direction. Initiation bonds the members together in mysticism. So I want to stop here and tell you guys, don't be angry at the poor fools in the military who have been brainwashed to follow orders no matter what. They really think they're the good guys. They really believe they're doing good. Just like those National Socialists in Nazi Germany throughout Europe thought they were doing good, thought they were doing God's work. Don't be mad at them. Be mad of the motherfuckers who are manipulating them. Neophytes gain knowledge of a secret, giving them special status. The ancient meaning of neophyte is planted anew or reborn. Born again Christian. A higher initiation is in reality a promotion inspiring loyalty and the desire to move up to the next rung. The goals of the society are reinforced, causing the initiated to act toward those goals in everyday life. That brings about a change in the political and social action of the member. The change is always in the best interest of the goals of the leaders of the secret society. The leaders are called adepts. This can best be illustrated by the soldier trained to follow orders without thinking. The result is often the wounding or death of the soldier for the realization of the commander's goal, commander-in-chief's goal, which may or may not be good for the overall community. For those of you joining us now, later, I'm reading Out of Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper. If you think of buying it, do not buy copies being published today. They have been changed. They have omitted a lot of things. They have changed a lot of things. Get yourself a copy or get yourself a used copy. Do not purchase copies published today. Initiation is a means of rewarding ambitious men who can be trusted. You will notice that the higher the degree of initiation, the fewer the members who possess the degree. This is not because the other members are not ambitious, but because a process of very careful selection is being conducted. A point is reached where no effort is good enough without a pull up by the higher members. Most members never proceed beyond this point and never learn the real secret purpose of the group. The frozen member, from that point on, serves only as a part of the political power base, as indeed he has always done. You may have guessed by now that initiation is a way to determine who can and cannot be trusted. A method of deciding exactly who is to become an adept may be decided during initiation by asking the candidate to spit upon the Christian cross. If the candidate refuses, the members congratulate him and tell him, "You have made the right choice," as a true adept would never do such a terrible thing. The newly initiated might find it disconcerting, however, that he or she never advances any higher. If instead the candidate spits, just like I did, upon the cross, and I mean right now saying the word spit, I spit, he or she has demonstrated a knowledge of one of the mysteries and soon will find himself or herself a candidate for the next higher level. The mystery is that religion is but a tool to control the masses. Listen again. Sorry if your butt hurt, but understand this. The mystery is that religion is but a tool to control the masses. Knowledge or wisdom is their only God, through which man himself will become God. The snake and the dragon are both symbols of wisdom. Lucifer is the personification of the symbol. It was Lucifer who tempted Eve to entice Adam to eat of the tree of knowledge and thus free man from the bonds of ignorance. The worship, a lot different from study, of knowledge, science, or technology is Satanism in its purest form, and its god is Lucifer. Its secret symbol is the all-seeing eye in the pyramid. Undesirable effects of secret societies and their aura of mystery has sometimes given them the reputation for being abnormal associations or, at the very least, strange groups of people. Whenever their beliefs are those of the majority, they are no longer considered antisocial. A good example is the Christian Church, which was at one time a secret society under the Roman Empire. In fact, the open, friendly secret society, the Vatican, actually ruled most, if not all, of the known world at one time. Most secret societies are generally considered to be antisocial. They are believed to contain elements that are not liked or are outright harmful to the community in general. This is exactly the case in some instances. Communism and fascism are secret societies in many countries where they are prohibited by law. In this country, the Nazi Party and the Ku Klux Klan are secret societies due mostly to the fact that the general public is disgusted by them. Their activities are sometimes illegal, thus the secrecy of their membership. The early Christians were a secret society because Roman authorities considered them from the start to be dangerous to imperial rule. The same was true of the followers of Islam. At least some of these true believers, working in secret, accomplished what would turn out to be for the eventual good of society. The Drusid and Yazidis in Syria and Iraq consider the Arabs a dangerous secret society dedicated to the takeover of the world. Sound familiar? The Arabs today think the same of the Jews. Catholics and Freemasons used to have precisely the same ideas about each other. In many primitive or backward societies, initiation into the highest degrees of the group involved subjection to trials, which not infrequently resulted in death or insanity for the candidate. It can be seen that social right and wrong is not the yardstick in estimating the value of a secret society. In Borneo, initiates of hunting societies consider it meritorious and compulsory to hunt heads. In Polynesia, infanticide and debauch were considered essential for initiation into their societies. Were the tribal code needed members who indulged in these things as pillars of society. Exactly, Mike. Mike is absolutely right. Since the beginning of recorded history, governmental bodies of every nation have been involved with maintaining the status quo to defend the establishment against minority groups that sought to function as states within states or to oust the constituted authority and take over in its place. Many of these attempts have succeeded, but have not always lasted. Man's desire to be one of the elect is something that no power on earth has been able to lessen, let alone destroy. It is one of the secrets of secret societies. It is what gives them a political base and lots of clout. Members often vote the same and give each other preference in daily business, legal, and social activities. It is the deepest desire of many to be able to say, I belong to the elect. Who's doing that today in this country? Houses of worship and sacrifice existed in the ancient cities. They were in fact temples built in honor of the many gods. These buildings functioned often as meeting places for philosophers and mystics who were believed to possess the secrets of nature. These men usually banded together in seclusive philosophic and religious schools. The most important of all of these ancient groups is the Brotherhood of the Snake or Dragon, and was simply known as the Mysteries. The snake and dragon are symbols that represent wisdom. The father of wisdom is Lucifer, also called the light bearer, Prometheus. The focus of worship for the mysteries was Osiris, another name of Lucifer. Osiris was the name of a bright star that the ancients believed had been cast down onto the earth. The literal meaning of Lucifer is bringer of light, or the morning star. After Osiris was gone from the sky, the ancients saw the sun as the representation of Osiris, or more correctly, Lucifer. And that's why they have so many sun symbols. The Star of David, what is the star? The star is a sun. The swastika, a sun symbol. Osiris was represented by the sun. Albert Pike. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Isaiah 14:12. It is claimed that after Lucifer fell from heaven, he brought with him the power of thinking as a gift for mankind. Fred Giddings, Symbolism in Occult Art. Most of the greatest minds that ever lived were initiated into the Society of Mysteries by secret and dangerous rites, some of which were very cruel. Some of the most famous were known as Osiris, Isis, Sabathia, Sebel, and Eleusis. Plato was one of these initiates, and he describes some of the mysteries in his writings. Plato's initiation encompassed 3 days of entombment in the Great Pyramid, during which time he died symbolically, was reborn, and was given secrets that he was to preserve. Plato's writings are full of information on the mysteries. Manly P. Hall stated in his book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, that the illumined of antiquity entered its pyramid of Giza, portals as men, they came forth as gods. The ancient Egyptian word for pyramid was kuti, which meant glorious light. Mr. Hall says also, the pyramids, the great Egyptian temples of initiation. They weren't tombs. They're not tombs. They're temples of initiation. According to many, the Great Pyramids were built to commemorate and observe a supernova explosion that occurred in the year 4000 BC. Dr. Anthony Hewish, not Jewish, Hewish, in 1974 Nobel Prize winner in physics, discovered a rhythmic series of radio pulses, which he proved were emissions from a star that had exploded around 4000 BC. The Freemasons begin their calendar from AL, in the year of light, found by adding 4000 to the modern year. Thus, for example, 1990 plus 4000 equals 5990 AL. George Michanowski wrote in The Once and Future Star that the ancient Sumerian cuneiform described a giant star exploding within a triangle formed by Zeta Puppis, Gamma Velorum, and Lambda Velorum, located in the southern sky. An accurate star catalog now stated that the blazing star that had exploded within the triangle would again be seen by man in 6,000 years. According to the Freemasons' calendar, it will occur in the year 2000, and indeed it will. But remember, this is all symbolic. The spacecraft called Galileo is on its way to Jupiter. Just to clarify, this book came out in the 90s. So if there are things that you don't know about that sound weird, it's because these things took place in the 90s, okay? Ain't it funny, though, how Artemis was launched the other day, huh? The spacecraft called Galileo is on its way to Jupiter. a baby star within a gaseous makeup exactly the same as our sun, with a load of 49.7 pounds of plutonium supposedly being used as batteries to power the craft. When its final orbit decays in December 1999, Galileo will deliver its payload into the center of Jupiter. The unbelievable pressure that will be encountered will cause a reaction exactly as occurs when an atomic bomb is exploded by an implosion detonator. The plutonium will explode in an atomic reaction, lighting the hydrogen and helium atmosphere of Jupiter and resulting in the birth of the star that has already been named Lucifer. The world will prophesize. The world will interpret it as a sign of tremendous religious significance. It will fulfill prophecy. See, there is no prophecy, y'all. Sorry to burst your bubble. No. It's people in positions of power, both male and female, using their power to make things happen. And you're falling for it. Nostradamus is bullshit as well. He wasn't telling you prophecy. He was not prophetic. He was a member of the mystery religion. He was a member of the Brotherhood of the Snake. They're all in cahoots. Make no mistake, Trump, Putin, Netanyahu, and everybody else in between are in cahoots. The real objective is to kill as many of us as is possible. You, civilians, are the only enemy. Trump hung out with Hillary and Bill. Putin and Netanyahu always hang out. When will you stop being played? When are you gonna fucking wake up? The world will interpret it as a sign of tremendous religious significance. It will fulfill prophecy. In reality, it is only a demonstration of the insane application of technology by the Jason Society, which may or may not even work. They have practiced overkill to ensure success, however, as the documents that I read while in naval intelligence stated that Project Galileo required only 5 pounds of plutonium to ignite Jupiter and possibly stave off the coming ice age. Global warming is a hoax. Global warming is a hoax. Global warming is a hoax. I'm right now in fucking New Jersey. It's supposedly springtime. It's cold as shit. And tomorrow it's supposed to plummet even colder. It is easier for the public to deal with and will give the ruling elite more time before panic and anarchy replace government. The reality is that overall global temperatures are becoming lower. This was published in the 90s. Storms are becoming more violent and less predictable. The ice caps at the poles are growing larger. The temperate zones where food can be grown are shrinking. Desertification is increasing in the tropics. An ice age is on its way, and it will occur suddenly. Simultaneously, a vault containing the ancient records of the earth will be opened in Egypt. I think it was already done. The return of Lucifer and the opening of the vault will usher in the millennium. A great celebration has already been planned by the Millennium Society to take place at the pyramids in Egypt, according to the January 3rd, 1989 edition of the Arizona Daily Star. President-elect at the time, Bush Sr., is spending this New Year's holiday at Camp David, Maryland, but in 10 years he may be in Egypt. Organizers of the Millennium Society say he's already committed to ushering in the next century at the Great Pyramid of Cheops in Giza. And if you don't believe this happened, you can find it on YouTube. Google it. Watch it on YouTube. The first secret that one must know to even begin to understand the mysteries is that their members believe that there are but few truly mature minds in the world. They believe that those minds belong exclusively to them. The philosophy that follows is the classic secret society view of humanity. When a person of strong intellect is confronted with a problem which calls for the use of reasoning faculties, they keep their poise and attempt to reach a solution by garnering facts bearing upon the question. On the other hand, those who are immature, that's you, when confronted by the same problem, are overwhelmed. While the former may be said to be qualified to solve the mystery of their own destiny, the latter must be led like a bunch of animals and taught in the simplest language. In case you're wondering why this bastard is using the language he's using, tweeting the language he's doing, in case you don't understand, he's talking that way to y'all, to those that follow him and support him, because that's what he thinks of them. Immature animals. He has to cater to his flock. Just like Lady Gaga. Just like Lady Gaga calls her fans little monsters. Have you ever wondered why she calls them little monsters? And called herself Mother Monster? Find out who the mother of monsters is. Where Lady Gaga took that name from. Like sheep, they are totally dependent upon the shepherd. The able intellect is taught the mysteries and the esoteric spiritual truths. The masses are taught the literal, exoteric interpretations. While the masses worship the five senses, the select few observe, recognizing in the gulf between them the symbolic concretions rather, of great abstract truth. The initiated elect communicate directly to gods, and in parentheses, he has aliens, but they're not aliens. They want you to believe they're aliens, who communicate back to them. The masses sacrifice their lambs on an altar facing a stone idol that can neither hear or speak. The elect are given knowledge of the mysteries and are illumined, and are thus known as the Illuminati, or the illuminated ones. In Resident Evil 4, the video game, they're called Los Illuminados, which means the same damn shit in Spanish. The guardians of the secrets of the ages. That's right. So when you go see that Guardians of the Galaxy movie, you just think it's fun. No, they're mocking you. They're mocking you. They're the Guardians. You're nothing. You're absolutely nothing. I hope you understand what I'm doing here. If we're gonna die, let's die knowing why we're going to be destroyed. Get out of the bullshit. 3 earlier secret societies that can be directly connected to a modern descendant are the cults of Roshaniya, Mithras, and their counterpart, the Builders. They have many things in common with the Freemasons of today, as well as with many other branches of the Illuminati. For instance, common to the Brotherhood are the symbolic rebirth into a new life without going through the portal of death during initiation. Reference to the lion and the grip of the lion's paw in the Master Mason's degree. The 3 degrees, which is the same as the ancient Masonic rites before the many other degrees were added. The ladder of 7 rungs, men only, and the all-seeing eye. Of special interest is the powerful society in Afghanistan, in ancient times called Roshaniya, which means illuminated ones. Nothing new under the sun. There are actually references to this mystical cult going back through history to the House of Wisdom at Cairo. The major tenets of this cult were the listen up. Listen up. What did I say earlier? Different names. It's all the same thing. They appear in different civilizations, but the agenda never changes. The major tenets of the cult were the abolition of private property, happening today. The elimination of religion, happening today. The elimination of nation states, happening today, even though you're not aware of it. The belief that illumination emanated from the Supreme Being, who desired a class of perfect men and women to carry out the organization and direction of the world. Zionism! 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 belief in a plan to reshape the social system of the world by first taking control of individual countries one by one. And the belief that after reaching the fourth degree, one could communicate directly with the unknown supervisors who had imparted knowledge to initiates throughout the ages. Wise men will again recognize the Brotherhood. Can you hear the echo of the Nazi Party, the Communist Party, the extreme right, and the extreme left? The important fact to remember is that the leaders of both the right and the left are a small, hardcore. Let me repeat that. Listen closely. The important fact to remember is that the leaders of both the right and the left are a small, hardcore of men who have been and still are illuminists or members of the Brotherhood. It doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter what side you go on. They may have been or may be members of the Christian or Jewish religions, but that is only to further their own ends. They are and always have been Luciferian and internationalists, international terrorist organization determined to rule the world right in your face. Those of you who are around my age and grew up with that fucking G.I. Joe cartoon. They give allegiance to no particular nation, although they have used on occasion nationalism, National Socialism, to further their causes. Their only concern is to gain greater economic and political power. The ultimate objective of the leaders of both groups is identical. They are determined to win for themselves undisputed control of the wealth, natural resources, and manpower of the entire planet. They intend to turn the world into their conception of a Luciferian, totalitarian, socialist state. In the process, listen up. In the process, they will eliminate all Christians, Jews, and atheists. You have just learned one, but only one, of the great mysteries. The Roshaniya also called themselves the Order. Initiates took an oath that absolved them from all allegiance except to the Order, and stated, "I bind myself to perpetual silence and unshaken loyalty and submission to the Order." All humanity, which cannot identify itself by our secret sign, is our lawful prey. The oath remains essentially the same to this day. The secret sign was to pass a hand over the forehead, palm inward, the countersign to hold the ear with the fingers and support the elbow in the cupped other hand. Does that sound familiar? The Order is the order of the quest. The cult preached that there was no heaven, no hell, only a spirit state, completely different from life as we know it. The spirit could continue to be powerful on earth through a member of the order, but only if the spirit had been itself a member of the order before its death. Thus, members of the order gained power from the spirits of the dead members. That's exactly what Himmler taught the SS. The Roshaniya took in travelers as initiates and then sent them on their way to found new chapters of the order. It is believed by some that the assassins were a branch of the Roshaniya. Branches of the Roshaniya, or the illuminated ones, or the Illuminati, existed and still exist everywhere. One of the rules was not to use the same name and never mention the Illuminati. That rule is still in effect today. I believe that it is the breaking of this rule that resulted in Adam Weishaupt's downfall. One of the greatest secrets of the ages is the true story of the Holy Grail, the robe of Jesus, the remains of the cross of crucifixion, and whether Jesus actually died or if he survived and produced a child. Just because you don't believe it doesn't mean a thing if they have the power and believe it. Many myths surround the Knights Templar concerning these relics, and most myths throughout history always have at least some basis in fact. If my sources are correct, the Knights Templar survive today as a branch of the Illuminati and guard the relics, which are hidden in a location known only to them. And we know, and you can see that in Indiana Jew and the Raiders of the Lost Ark at the end. We know that the Templars are Illuminati because the Freemasons absorbed and protected those that escaped persecution of the Church and France, just as the Freemasons would absorb and protect Weishaupt's Illuminati centuries later. The Knights Templar exist today as a higher degree of Freemasonry within the Templar order. In fact, the Knights Templar is a branch of the Order of the Quest. The Demolay Society is a branch of the Freemasons that consecrates the memory of the persecution of the Knights Templar, and in particular their leader, Jacques de Molay. I know because I was a member of the de Molay Society as a young adult. I loved the mystery and ritual. I became separated from the society when my family moved to a location out of reach of any lodge. I believe to this day that my association with the de Molay Society may have been the reason for my selection for naval security and intelligence. According to members of the intelligence community, when the New World Order is solidified, the relics will be taken out, will be united with the Spear of Destiny, and will, according to legend, give the world's ruler absolute power. I got the power! I have the power! And you think it's just coincidence that the Masters of the Universe movie comes out this year? Nothing is done by accident. And you thought it was just coincidence that Excalibur came out on 4K this year. No, it's all the same shit. Oh, boy. This may confirm beliefs passed down through the ages that describe the significance of these relics when united in the hands of one man. It may also explain Hitler's desperate search for their hiding place during World War II. Again, I must remind you that it makes not one iota of difference what you believe. If they believe, you will be affected. The Knights Templar were founded sometime during the 11th century in Jerusalem by the Priory de Sion, with an S, for the express purpose of guarding the remains, or rather, guarding the remaining relics of Jesus, and to provide military protection for the religious travelers during their pilgrimage to the holy city. The Priory de Sion were the religious order founded upon Mount Sion in Jerusalem. The order set for itself the goal of preserving and recording the bloodline of Jesus and the house of David. Through every means available to them, the Priory de Sion had found and retrieved the remaining relics. These relics were entrusted to the Knights Templar for safeguarding. I am amazed at the authors of Holy Blood, Holy Grail, and the information that they have unearthed. Most of all, I am amazed at their inability to put the puzzle together. The treasure hidden in France is not the treasure of the Temple of Jerusalem. It is the Holy Grail itself, the robe of Jesus, the last remaining pieces of the cross of crucifixion, and according to my sources, someone's bones. I can tell you that the reality of the bones will shake the world to its very foundations. If I have been told the truth, the relics are hidden in France. I know the location, and so do the authors of Holy Blood, Holy Grail, but they do not know that they know, or do they? Adam Weishaupt, a young professor of canon law at Ingolstadt University in Germany, was a Jesuit priest and an initiate of the Illuminati, the branch of the order he founded in Germany in 1776. What's the significance over here? Was the same Illuminati previously discussed. The Jesuit connection is important, as you will see later in this chapter. Researchers agree that he was financed by the House of Rothschild, the same Rothschild family mentioned in Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, another chapter in this very same book. Weishaupt advocated abolition of all ordered national governments, abolition of inheritance, abolition of private property, abolition of patriotism, abolition of the individual home and family life as the cell from which all civilizations have stemmed, and abolition of all religions established and existing, so that the Luciferian ideology of totalitarianism may be imposed on mankind. They're setting you up to take the blame. And quite frankly, you deserve your fate. In the same year that he founded the Illuminati, he published Wealth of Nations, the book that provided the ideological foundation for capitalism and for the Industrial Revolution. He published Wealth of Nations. He didn't write it. I know a lot of fools out there don't pay attention and think that Cooper said that Weishaupt wrote the book. No, he said he published it. It is no accident that the Declaration of Independence was written in the same year, 1776. On the obverse of the Great Seal of the United States, the wise will recognize the all-seeing eye and other signs of the Brotherhood of the Snake. Every tenet was the same. Date and beliefs confirm that Weishaupt's Illuminati is the same as the Afghan illuminated ones and the other cults which called themselves illumined. The Alumbrados of Spain, Los Illuminados in Resident Evil 4, were the same as were the illuminated Guerionets of France. Guerionets. In the United States, they were known as the Jacobin clubs. Secrets within secrets within secrets, but always at the heart is the Brotherhood of the Snake. Okay. I believe that Weishaupt was betrayed and set up for persecution because he ignored the rule that the word Illuminati or the existence of the Brotherhood would never be exposed to public knowledge. His exposure and outlawing accomplished several goals of the still hidden and still very powerful Brotherhood. It allowed members to debunk claims of its existence on the grounds that the Illuminati had been exposed and outlawed and thus was no longer a reality. It allowed members to deny allegations of conspiracy of any kind. The Brotherhood of the Snake is adept at throwing out decoys to keep the dogs at bay. Weishaupt may have been a fool, or he may have been doing exactly what he was told, just like Trump. Weishaupt said, "The great strength of our order lies in its concealment. Let it never appear in its own name, but always covered by another name and another occupation." MAGA? Anyone? Back in the 30s, they called it National Socialism or fascism. You better get a clue how this shit works. They are parasites that infect the host body. Allegations that the Freemason organizations were infiltrated by the Illuminati during Weishaupt's reign are hogwash. Let me repeat that again. Allegations that the Freemason organizations were infiltrated by the Illuminati during Weishaupt's reign are hogwash. The Freemasons have always contained the core of Illuminati within their ranks. And that is why they so freely and so willingly took in and hid the members of Weishaupt's group. You cannot really believe that the Freemasons, if they were only a simple fraternal organization, would have risked everything, including their very lives, by taking in and hiding outlaws who had been condemned by the monarchies of Europe. It is mainly Freemason authors who have perpetuated the myth that Adam Weishaupt was the founder of the Illuminati and that the Illuminati was destroyed, never to surface again. In 1826, an American Freemason wrote a book revealing Masonic secrets entitled Illustrations of Freemasonry. One of the secrets that he revealed is that the last mystery at the top of the Masonic pyramid is the worship of Lucifer. Not a demon, not a creature, a philosophy, knowledge. This is what they worship. The mind of man is God. We have since learned the secret of the story of the murder of Harim Abif. Harim Abif represents intelligence, liberty, and truth, and was struck down by a blow to the neck with a rule representing the suppression of speech by the church. Then he was struck in the heart with the square, representing the suppression of belief by the state. And finally, he was struck on the head by a maul, representing the suppression of intellect by the masses. And more than likely, that's where they got the name for that character in Star Wars, Darth Maul. Freemasonry thus equates the church, the state, and the masses with tyranny, intolerance, and ignorance. You are the enemy. They're all in cahoots. They are part of the Brotherhood. You, outside of the Brotherhood, are the only real enemy. Freemasonry thus equates the church, the state, and the masses, that's you, with tyranny, intolerance, and ignorance. What Morgan revealed was that the Freemasons were pledged to avenge Harim Abif, and that their plan was to strike down the church, the state, and the freedom of the masses. Morgan caused a small uproar against the Masons. The small uproar turned into a full-blown anti-Freemason movement when the author, William Morgan, disappeared. Morgan had apparently been abducted and drowned in Lake Ontario. It was alleged that fellow Masons had done it, a claim that they deny to this day. Who else would have done it? I believe they murdered him. And he ain't the only one they murdered. The newspapers of the time state without reservation that he was murdered by Masons. The oath of initiation into the Freemasons states that if secrets are told, the initiate will be murdered. A nationwide furor ensued that resulted in the creation of an anti-Masonic political party in 1829 by Henry Dana Ward, Thurlow Weed, and William H. Seward. Interest in several anti-Masonic books was revived during that period, with the result that Freemasonry suffered a severe loss of membership. It lasted only a few years, and by 1840, the anti-Masonic party was extinct. Time really does cure all ills. We know that the British Freemasons are a totally self-serving group that discriminates in favor of its own whenever jobs, promotions, contracts, or careers are concerned. The English Freemason organization was used by the KGB to infiltrate and take over British intelligence. British intelligence is synonymous with Chatham House, more commonly known as the Royal Institute for International Affairs, the parent organization of the Council on Foreign Relations in the United States. The English State Police Scotland Yard ordered its personnel not to join the Masons for fear the same would happen to them. Of course, you have been told all your life that the Freemasons are only a benevolent fraternal organization bent only on community service. Read on, O innocent one. Cryptic order of benevolent reptilian apostates. Right in your face. Probably the most notorious Freemason lodge is the P2 Lodge in Italy. This group has been implicated in everything from bribery to assassinations. P2 is directly connected to the Vatican, the Knights of Malta, and to the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency. I wonder why Francis Ford Coppola took out that scene in The Godfather 3 Coda for its 4K release. Oh, you don't know what scene I'm talking about, where Michael Corleone is wearing the regalia of the secret society of the Knights of Malta? You better go watch the original version again. P2 is directly connected to the Vatican, the Knights of Malta, and to the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency. It is powerful and dangerous. The P2 Lodge has succeeded in infiltrating the Vatican and has scored a coup of tremendous significance. The Pope John Paul II has lifted the ban against Freemasonry. Remember, this book was written in the 90s. Many high-level members of the Vatican are now Freemasons. I tell you now that Freemasonry is one of the most wicked and terrible organizations upon the earth, upon this earth. The Masons are major players in the struggle for world domination. The 33rd degree is split into two. One split contains the core of the Luciferian Illuminati, and the other contains those who have no knowledge of it whatsoever. All of the intelligence officers that I worked for while in naval intelligence were Masons. As I stated before, I believe that my association with the Demolay Society as a young adult may have been the reason that I was selected for naval security and intelligence. However, that is only a guess. I had intended to go into great detail linking P2, the Prairie de Sion, the Vatican, the CIA, Organizations for a United Europe, and the Bilderberg Group. Fortunately, Michael Bagent and Richard Leahy and Henry Lincoln beat me to it. I say fortunately because they confirmed my previous allegation that I published in my paper, The Secret Government, that the CIA had plants called moles deep within the Vatican. I do not wish to be called a plagiarist, so you must read Holy Blood, Holy Grail, and the Messianic Legacy, both by Bagent, Lay, and Lincoln. Any reputable bookstore should carry them. Between pages 343 and 361 of the Messianic Legacy, you can read of the alliance of power that resulted in a secret world government. It's always been here. They're here already. It's not coming. But now they're letting you see it. Most members of the Freemasons are not aware that the Illuminati practices what is known as secrets within secrets, or organizations within organizations. That is one purpose of initiation. I cannot excuse any of the members, however, for anyone who joins the society without knowing everything about the organization is indeed a fool. Only those at the top who have passed every test truly know what the Masons are hiding, thus rendering it impossible for anyone outside to know much at all about the group. What does that say about new members or those who are already members but do not know the ultimate secrets? It tells me that fools abound. Unlike authors who, out of fear, have acted as apologists for the Freemasons, I decline to absolve them of responsibility and guilt. The Freemasons, like everyone else, are responsible for the cleanliness of their home. The occupant of a secret house within a secret house within a secret house cannot clean if he cannot see the number of rooms or what they contain. Their house is a stinking cesspool. Look to the Masons for the guilty party if anything happens to me. That's the author, Bill Cooper. And you know what happened to him. I believe that they have murdered in the past and they will murder in the future. I firmly believe that all adult secret societies that practice degrees of initiation and consider the members to be illuminated are branches of the original ages-old Illuminati. Their goal is to rule the world. The doctrine of this group is not democracy or communism. Listen up. This is very important. The doctrine of this group is not democracy or communism, but is a form of fascism. The doctrine is totalitarian socialism. 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 Before Mussolini changed the name to fascism, he was a socialist. You must begin to think correctly. Pay close attention. The Illuminati are not communists, but some communists are Illuminati. 1. Monarchism. Thesis. Faced democracy. Antithesis. In World War I, which resulted in the formation of communism and the League of Nations. Synthesis. 2. Democracy and communism. Thesis. Faced fascism. Antithesis. In World War II, and resulted in a more powerful United Nations. Synthesis. 3. Capitalism. Thesis. Now faces communism. Antithesis. And the result will be the New World Order, totalitarian socialism. Synthesis. In 1953, the 1953 report of the California Senate Investigating Committee on Education stated, so-called modern communism is apparently the same hypocritical world conspiracy to destroy civilization that was founded by the Illuminati and that raised its head in our colonies here at the critical period before the adoption of our Constitution. The California Senate understood that communism is the work of the Illuminati. They failed to realize that the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission are also the work of the Illuminati. You must begin to think correctly. The enemy is not communism. It is Illuminism. The communists are not going to be much happier with the New World Order than we. I hope to show that most modern secret societies, and especially those that practice degrees of initiation, and that is the key, are really one society with one purpose. You may call them whatever you wish. The Order of the Quest, the Jason Society, the Rashaniya, the Kabbalah, the Knights Templar, the Knights of Malta, the Knights of Columbus, the Jesuits, the Masons, the ancient and mystical Order of the Rosy Cross, the Illuminati, the Nazi Party, the Communist Party, the executive members of the Council on Foreign Relations, the group, the Brotherhood of the Dragon, the Rosicrucians, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, the Open Friendly Secret Society, the Vatican, the Russell Trust, the Skull and Bones, the Scroll and Key, the Order. They are all the same and all work toward the same ultimate goal, a new world order. What was Hitler's second book called? Hitler had a second book? I didn't know. I didn't know Hitler had a second book. What was it called, Hollywood? It was called The New World Order. And Hitler did his part. Because if it wasn't for the actions of the National Socialists, there wouldn't be an excuse for the creation of Israel. And you thought Hitler failed. If he did fail, he failed on purpose. Many of them, however, disagree on exactly who will rule. This is very important, okay? Because this is where all the fighting that's going on now is all about. Okay? Pay attention. Many of them, however, disagree on exactly who will rule this new world order. And that is what causes them to sometimes pull in opposite directions, aka wars. Oh, that's coming out too. Oh yeah, Marvel's coming out with Secret Wars. You better ask somebody. How many of you know that the leaders of all the Marvel organizations in the comic books I'm talking about, how many of you know that Professor X, Reed Richards, Iron Man, and the other various leaders of the different Marvel superhero groups are all together as one group, and they call themselves the Illuminati? You didn't know this? I think one of the fucking movies showed it. Oh, that's just a movie. That's just fun. No, they're mocking you, idiot. Many of them, however, disagree on exactly who will rule this new world order. And that is what causes them to sometimes pull in opposite directions, while nevertheless proceeding toward the same goal. The Vatican, for instance, wants the Pope to head the world coalition. Some want Lord Maitreya. And if you don't know what this Maitreya shit is all about, it's the Messiah of the Buddhists. They have Maitreya. That's where it all came from. Just like we got Christians waiting for Jesus to come back. We got Jews waiting for their Messiah. We got Muslims waiting for the Mahdi to return. The Buddhists rather, have Maitreya. Some want Lord Maitreya to head the New World Order. Lord Maitreya is the front runner, I believe, since witnesses say he was present on the ship at Malta with Bush, Gorbachev, and the 10 regional heads of the New World Order. Approximately 200 dignitaries from around the world attend a major conference initiated by Maitreya in London on April 21 and April 22nd, 1990. Representatives of governments, including the USA, members of the royal families, religious leaders, and journalists, all of whom had met with Maitreya previously, attended the conference. Quote from Prophecy Watch, column of whole wheat, number 8, Minneapolis. I have trouble with that word. Minneapolis. Someone has also spent an awful lot of money announcing his presence. The Pope will have to approve him if Maitreya is selected. However, and that would fulfill the Bible. However, and that would fulfill the Bible prophecy in the book of Revelation that states that the first beast will be given his power by Rome. If you can interpret Revelation as I can, then you know that the Pope will ultimately win out and will reign as the second beast. In 1952, an alliance was formed, bringing them all together for the first time in history. The Black families, also known as the Black nobility, the Illuminati, the Order, the Vatican, and the Freemasons now work together to bring about the New World Order and will protest their innocence and will do everything within their power to destroy anyone who suggests otherwise. I will undoubtedly become a target when this book is published, and he sure was. All right. I'm going to read a little bit more, but there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it. You may notice that some of those listed in the preceding paragraphs do not, or so it appears, practice degrees of initiation, that the public view, that is, the public view, look at the Council on Foreign Relations. Many members, in fact, the majority, never serve on the executive committees. They never go through any initiation of any kind. They are, in fact, the power base and are used to gain a consensus of opinion. The majority are not really members, but are made to feel as if they are. In reality, they are being used and are unwilling or unable to understand. The executive committee is an inner core of intimate associates, members of a secret society called the Order of the Quest, also known as the Jason Society, devoted to a common purpose. The members are an outer circle on whom the inner core acts by personal persuasion, patronage, and social pressure. That is how they bought Henry Kissinger. Rockefeller gave Kissinger a grant of $50,000 in the early 50s, a fortune in those days, and made dear old Henry a member of the CFR. Anyone in the outer circle who does not toe the mark is summarily expelled, and the lesson is not lost on those who remain. Do you remember the human desire to be a member of the elect? That is the principle at work. The real power are men, not demons, not Nephilim, not aliens. The real power are men who are always recruited without exception from the secret societies of Harvard and Yale, known as the Skull and Bones and the Scroll and Key. If you're not one of them, you are nothing. That's their motto. Both societies are secret branches, also called the Brotherhood of Death, of what is otherwise historically known as the Illuminati. What did I say earlier? Different names. They look different. They do different things, but they're all the same shit. They are connected to parent organizations in England, the group of Oxford University, and especially All Souls College, and Germany, the Thule Society, also called the Brotherhood of Death. That's why the SS were the skull and crossbones. I learned this when I was with Naval Intelligence. I was not able to explain why some members of the executive committee were not listed under the address of chapter 322 of the Skull and Bone Society until I read The Wise Men by Walter Isaacson and Evan Thomas, Simon & Schuster, New York. Under illustration number 9 in the center of the book, you will find the caption, "Love It," with the Yale unit, above far right and on the beach. His initiation into Skull and Bones came at an airbase near Dunkirk. I have found that members of these two societies were chosen on an ongoing basis by invitation based upon merit, post-college, and were not confined to only Harvard or Yale attendees. So if you can help them achieve their goals, you can be a part of them. That's why Bush did what he did on 9/11. And I'm not talking about his son, I'm talking about the elder Bush. And that's why Trump is doing what he's doing in the Middle East. In the streets, we say, show and prove. In the streets, when we're joining a gang, we have to show and prove we're loyal to that gang, even if it's committing crime. The most horrific crimes. Hitler did what he's told. Hitler did what he was told as well. For all you idiots believing that Hitler was a great man who rose to power with his own boots. No, he was another puppet that they used. They've even fucking admitted that he was spying on the German Workers' Party. This is what they do. They infiltrate groups and organizations and then take them over. Hitler wasn't stupid. Oh, boy. Only members of the order are initiated into the Order of the Quest, the Jason Society that makes up the executive members of the Council on Foreign Relations, and in fact, the Trilateral Commission as well. The executive members of the Council on Foreign Relations are the real elect in this country. George Bush Sr., the one that passed away, is or was a member of the order. Surprised? You shouldn't be. His father was also a member who helped finance Hitler. Let me repeat that again. George Bush is a member of the order. Surprised? You shouldn't be. His father was also a member who helped finance Hitler. It is important that you know that the members of the order take an oath that absolves them from any allegiance to any nation or king or government or constitution, and that includes the negating of any subsequent oath of allegiance which they may have, or rather, which they may be required to take. They swear allegiance only to the order and its goal of a new world order. George Bush is not a loyal citizen of the United States, but instead is loyal only to the destruction of the United States and to the formation of the New World Order. According to the oath Bush took when he was initiated into Skull and Bones, his oath of office as President of the United States of America means nothing. The Trilateral Commission is an elite group of some 300 very prominent business, political, and intellectual decision makers of Western Europe, North America, and Japan. This enterprise is a private agency that works to build up political and economic cooperation among the three regions. Its grand design, which it no longer hides, is a new world order. The Trilateral Commission was the idea of its founder, American banking magnate David Rockefeller. The real reason for its formation was the decline of the Council on Foreign Relations power as a result of the people's dissatisfaction with the Vietnam War. The reasoning behind the move toward the Trilateral Commission was the same as entering two horses in the same race. So, what are we going to get when the current dissatisfied people of the current administration are gone? When Trump and his acolytes are gone, there are a lot of pissed off people. And they want blood. And they're going to get blood. You see how the game is played yet? Order out of chaos. With one puppet, they do something. They get the outcome that they wanted, and then they give you another puppet who's going to get revenge for the last puppet and what they did. They own both horses. They win. What's that? What they say? What's that motto that's said that people say? No matter who wins, we lose. You better believe it. It doubles the chances of winning. The real power has always remained solidly in the hands of the Council on Foreign Relations. The Rockefeller family was, is, and always will be the benefactor of both organizations. Rockefeller, though powerful, is not in control in this country or anywhere else. The key to the real power is the fact that Rockefeller had to put out feelers at a Bilderberg Group meeting in 1972 about forming a private group of trilateral leaders. The Bilderberg Group gave the nod, and Rockefeller's man, Zbigniew Brzezinski, gathered up a membership and organized the Trilateral Commission in 1972, not in 1973, as the commission claims. The other day I was watching, I forget if the podcast was a leftist or somebody on the right. They were being interviewed by a certain podcast. I don't remember what podcast it was at the moment. But the person that was being interviewed had a bookshelf, and one of the books that the motherfucker had up that was being interviewed was The big news, Brzezinski's book, Tragedy and Hope. Let me make sure that's what it's called. Tragedy and Book. Oh, Tragedy and Book. Tragedy and Hope book. Oh, not not Brzezinski. Brzezinski wrote the other one, The Grand Chessboard. Carol Quigley wrote Tragedy and Hope. And this guy was being interviewed, supposedly on one of the sides. Nope, it's all one side. Two sides of the same goddamn coin. A key to the danger presented by the Trilateral Commission is its seminal piece, written for them by Harvard professor Samuel P. Huntington in the mid-70s. In the paper, Professor Huntington recommended that democracy and economic development be discarded as outdated ideas. He wrote, as co-author of the book Crisis in Democracy, we have come to recognize that there are potential desirable limits to economic growth. There are also potentially desirable limits to the indefinite extension of political democracy. A government which lacks authority will have little ability short of a cataclysmic crisis to impose on its people the sacrifices which may be necessary. And you're worried about what Trump is doing when you should be worried what the retaliation for what he's doing is going to be. Remember Terminator? Remember the first Terminator movie? Why did Skynet, after it became self-aware, why did it attack Russia? Even though John Connor said to the Terminator, I thought we were friends now? Was so that the Russians could take out Skynet's enemies over here. Even the logo of goddamn Skynet is a fucking pyramid. Skynet is the Illuminati. But you just say it's science fiction made for entertainment. The crisis and sacrifices he talks about will be discussed in a later chapter. Well, I'm going to stop right here because there's a lot of it. Get yourself, if you want it, hey, you can even find a PDF. But make sure it's a PDF of the original publication. The publishers of the recent copies of the Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper have omitted a lot of stuff, have changed a lot of stuff. The whole chapter of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion has been removed. I'm guessing so that the publishers don't get accused of being anti-Semitic. So get yourself an old, used copy. You're welcome, Bobby B. Everything that's going on today is being done by design. And if we have to be sacrificed and murdered, we should at the very least know what for.